Hello, back again with another fun video. I have one of these, Toshiba Dynabook 2120 SS. I've had it for about 8 years, haven't done anything with it, and today I've finally got around to doing something with it. It comes pre-built Windows XP, bunch of other specs and things on there, 256 megabytes of RAM by default, Intel chipset of course, a 12-inch screen, and overall is actually quite feature rich for such a small, thin and light machine. You could get a 20 to 40 gigabyte hard drive. These were IDE, very small drives. You could also get it pre-built with Windows 2000 as it turns out. The machine itself is very thin. It's just a smidge thicker than a dual case CD case, about the same width as an iPad basically, and it's very light, weighs about 1 kg with the battery, or 1.1 kgs or something like that. I think this is made from around 2004, but yeah, it's got an SD card slot on the left side, vent for the fan, power where my thumb is, VGA, 2 USB 2 ports, 10100 Ethernet, 56k dial-up modem for internet connectivity, and around the right side got your audio jacks, USB port, PC card slot and compact flash slot. So it's actually quite feature rich, and this being a Dynabook, which is typically Japanese sort of market, of course it has a Japanese keyboard, which is interesting sometimes. But yeah, I've had this thing for quite a while. It does work, but while browsing around I found this, which is actually a Toshiba Portage R100, and it is actually the same machine, which is quite interesting. I believe, looking at this, it's just for the Western market. So yes, the Portage being for the Western market and the Dynabook being for the Japanese market. And of course the Portage has what I want, which is a US keyboard. There are some differences between the two, physically and internally. So on the right side of the machine, basically where most of the changes are, we have a Wi-Fi switch. I think we've dropped the IR port, I'm not too sure on that. Still got the PC card slot, but we've lost the compact flash port, and I believe that is just to fit the Wi-Fi adapter in there. But otherwise the machines actually stay the same, which is handy because I've got spare parts now. Okay, looking at the specifications sheet here, we can see it's sold for 4,400 Australian dollars, which is about $6,000 now, which is still quite expensive. And around 2005, I believe this one, the pricing here is $3,895 Australian. Not a cheap device. It was very thin, and you paid the premium to have that thinness. And when I bought the Portage, it actually came with the extended battery, which actually still works. I left a game running for 4 hours and it was still going, so yeah, impressive. Just clips on the bottom there, and it has two little thingies you just sort of press in, and that locks it in place. But anyway, now we're going to tackle the physical stuff of what I want to do with mine. Alrighty, so what we need to do is actually take the keyboard off the US one and put it on my one, and there's a few reasons for that, but I'll get into that in a moment. It's pretty much remove the batteries, and there is literally 3 screws holding the keyboard in. One in the middle of the machine, and then underneath this little cover there are 2 more. These machines actually were built very well. That's something I miss actually quite a bit about modern machines sometimes, is how easy these are to work on. But yeah, literally it's 3 screws, and then once those are out, you just pop the keyboard out, just sort of prying around the edges like that with your nails, and then flipping it over onto the palm rest. You pull it a little bit towards the screen to get the ribbon cable out from underneath the palm rest, and very carefully just remove the ribbon cable from the lock. And then it's pretty much just the same procedure with the Portage, being it's actually just the identical machine. It's literally just 3 screws, and then once again you're in. Alrighty, now I've got my US American keyboard there. It's pretty much just the reverse. Take the keyboard out of the Japanese model, put it back into the international model, whatever you want to call it, and then yeah, put it back together. The Portage donor machine actually does work, but it has a Trident video card, and also had some issues running the preferred operating system which I planned to run on it. The machine would just turn off, like it'd boot up and then it would go to load and then it would just shut down. But these machines have some hidden talents which I'm going to go through in a moment. But the killer of these machines is the hard drive. It uses these horrible little 1.8 inch like IDE hard drives that you find in an iPod Classic, like that. So I've put a compact flash adapter with a dodgy looking compact flash card. I've also got one of these little adapters there as well, link is in the description. But yeah, what I'd recommend is picking up one of these little multi-card readers so you can plug it into a modern machine. And then I used a 3.5 inch floppy disk drive to boot up some formatting utilities. It's very important to format the compact flash card in the machine because it has some issues. It's really weird. But yes, the reason you go through all of that is because these machines can't actually boot from a USB CD-ROM drive, so you need to have it sort of prepped and ready with the files on the hard drive in order to install an OS. But yeah, this one's got extra memory on board. I've got 256 megabytes expanded, and there's 256 megabytes on the motherboard already, so making up for 512 megs. But yeah, with these sort of potato specs, can't pull a skin off a custard sort of thing. Windows XP is going to be a bit too heavy for it. I did try Windows 2000, but actually what I settled on was Windows 98. The 1GHz CPU that it's got, and the memory and the Intel chipset it's using actually suits it very well, and the cheap compact flash adapter means as well that it's sort of runs very light. It's very lightweight, it runs very well, and actually this machine's actually an incredible early 2000s, mid 90s gaming machine. So you can see here the specs. It's the 1.10 gigahertz CPU. I've got the 512 megabytes of RAM, and the Intel display, which you'll see here in a moment when I go through it, is actually I didn't think it would be that good, but it's actually very surprising. I mean, it even has AGP texturing, which is awesome, for an Intel chipset. I don't know if it's got its own memory, and the sound card is actually some sort of generic sound card. Although it doesn't have true DOS support, like Sound Blaster DOS support, outside of Windows, it sounds pretty good. So yeah, you can hear it there. It's actually very clear and very good. And we're going to play some games on it. Well, off the bat, we're off to a good start, but this is where the Achilles heel is on the sound chip. As I said, it hasn't got full Sound Blaster DOS, real DOS mode driver support. I did have a look at enabling something, but I couldn't get anything to work, so games like Commander Keen here don't have sound unless you use the PC speaker, of course, which does work. But another option is to run DOSBox, of course, and just enable it through there, and the machine is just fast enough to actually play the game smoothly. And there's a stutter every now and then, but it's pretty good. But yeah, some of these other games actually I'm about to show I couldn't believe actually worked, so let's roll them.
Let's rock. Damn, those alien bastards are gonna pay for shooting up my ride. Don't have time to play with myself.
To inform me at once of any priority messages or spells. Jawohl, mein Herr.
Enter the portal to begin combat. Hunt Crash to win this arena. You have taken the lead. Three frags left. Two frags left. One frag left. Tier 1, Trainee. Ranger, Phobos, Minx, Orb, Sarge.
It is actually a decent little gaming machine, this thing. But the biggest surprise for me was Vice City. I mean, this is a game that needs Windows XP, typically, Pentium 4 power, with definitely a better graphics card than what I've got in this, especially if you want decent frame rates. But this is it here running at 1024 by 768 at 16 colours. It's not bad, it's not great, but it's not bad either. What I'm doing here is actually typing in the cheat code to remove the police. One to level, sorry. In the PC version you can actually pause the game and type a cheat code in and then it will just relay it on. GTA 3 doesn't do that as far as I'm aware, but Vice City does. So I'm just going to knock back the frame rate to 800 by 600, still sticking with 16 colours. And we get a few extra FPS here that you can see. Probably a little less juddering as well. Partly that's due to the hard drive solution. It's not very fast, but it does work. well, that pretty much wraps this one up. I've had this laptop sitting for about 8 years because the hard drives are so hard to find. But when I found the second one with the US keyboard, I figured, let's get it out, get it fixed up. And that extra battery does work for many hours. It's actually quite incredible. Also, a complete surprise that this machine actually has some gaming prowess. I was not expecting the sound compatibility to work so well, and also the game selection is actually quite good. But yeah, if you haven't played Return to Castle Wolfenstein, it's actually a really good game, but yeah, highly recommend it. Yeah, that wraps it up. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay safe, stay sane, catch you soon.